Why not?
Right. Hold on. I will. We get to 10.
We both talk funny.
And I talk
10,
normal.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are live.
Boom. Casey Joe, you followed me and I've followed you, and I've been looking forward to this for maybe since we started Service Six Sigma. So welcome, my friend.
Welcome. I'm thankful to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, well, you're one of the great stories of life. Is from bad to blessed, is what I suggested. Because you've had such a colorful life. And you've made it through to the other side, right?
Persistence is key.
Yep. And like, you're married with a kid. How good's this woman that you found?
Oh, best thing ever happened to me.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And she's changed my life. She's given me reason and purpose to, calm down for as much as I have and show me that I do have something out here, that there is somebody every day that's willing to help. Hey, you got this, like,
Yeah.
because if it's just me, I'll deal with the consequences. Oh, well, I'll wake up tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Life goes on.
Life goes on. So with this, it's a lot more cautious, a lot more thought, more, hey, I have mouths I have to feed. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Right.
I
It's
wouldn't
the
have
best
it any
thing.
other way.
Dude, when I like, as you probably know, I had my first kid when I was like 21 or something. I had Harrison when I was 30, and
Okay.
then 20 years later, through circumstance, I got Ollie. you know but I remember when I moved to China, I said to myself, like, I'm a free man. What would I do if I could? Would I live my life selfishly, or if I had a chance to have another family? Would I have another family? Because I have so much blessing, in particular from Harrison, because we get on. I'm a man's man kind of guy, right? I'm like,
Yep.
my daughters think I'm misogynistic, but I grew up in boarding school. I joined the Navy. I didn't know girls. I didn't live with sisters or shit like that. Like, didn't live with my mum, even though I got kicked out of home when I was 12, but I was in boarding school at 7. I never lived with, a mom. So
Yep.
there's parts of that I don't get real good, you know, and, but having a kid and is just best thing ever, right?
Phenomenal. Yeah, because when we got together, he was a year old and
Oh,
take off. And then we just out of nowhere, we had the hurricane last year.
yep,
And then no, of the year before. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's been over a year. And then so Ian, and when we took off for Ian, she was like, we were at the hotel on the East Coast in Fort Lauderdale, and she said, I need to take a pregnancy test. So we had a baby. We realized, like, oh shit, we're pregnant, and we're like, are we gonna have a house to go home to? So because we were on the coast, we were half a
yeah,
less than like 0.48 of a mile from the coast, and everybody was like, it's okay, there's hurricanes here all the time, it's just wind. And I'm getting notifications from YouTube, some guy, that's not paid by the media, does his own thing, and he's showing the same graphs, but he's showing these swells in the Gulf, 60-foot swells of water, like 50-foot swell, like these massive record-breaking swells. I'll have to find it and send it to you. I don't
yeah.
know the exact thing, but he was saying that it was almost like twice as high as the water is deep. So like 20 foot of water, 25 feet of water, they got like 40-foot swells. Like, and he
Wow.
said that the water, he said it's going to devastate the coast. The amount of water that's coming, that it's holding up like a wall, like a
Yeah.
tsunami. And it was already king tide, full moon. So I was
Yeah.
worried more about the water. I wasn't even worried about the wind. Obviously
No.
everybody else has always made it. And we took off. Yeah, during the middle of the night, it got pretty bad. It was supposed to hit until like 10 o'clock in the morning. And by like 11 o'clock at night, 10:30, the winds were already sustained to 80 miles an hour. Rain, torrential downpours. And it's like, well, I mean, we still got 12 hours left to the storm's supposed to be here. Like, this is crazy. So we decided to take off in the middle of the night, and everybody's always talking about the traffic is congested. And I pulled up my Apple Maps, and there was no red, there was no yellow.
Nobody was leaving.
Nobody was leaving. It was the one hurricane that nobody really left for. So, and it was, the crazy part was, so many people, they said it was going to Tampa. So many people from Tampa rushed down here thinking, they're following the news. And the guy that I'm watching was like, it's coming for Cape Coral. It's coming for Sanibel. Like, that's here. That's here. That's where I'm at. And
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to stick around. So my aunt was in Tampa. She called me and said that the bay, Tampa Bay, is a very, very large bay. And that literally you could see the entire flat of the bay. The bay, they've never seen it bone dry. The entire bay was bone dry. Yep.
So what happened to your house?
Huh?
What happened to your house?
We got about an inch and a half of water in the house. So before we left, we unplugged everything, hit the main breaker, picked everything up. I left the couch and stuff on the ground, but anything that we knew, I tried to put everything like 3 feet high. But we were on the road has got kind of like a very, very gradual incline. But for like the first 3/4 of the mile coming in. And we were at the point where it like literally, that's like where it had pretty much calmed down and stopped. But the entire street was flooded. We had canals. There's canals in behind everybody's house. There's canals. All the canals broke. And then there's people that have older homes, and from where they've built all the newer homes, and they're all elevated for code for flood control. A lot of people, like even on my street, there's a guy across the street, half his house was underwater on the same street because his house was so low and the soil. Both houses on both sides sat so high. So all their water just filled his house. In the middle of the hurricane, he had to get out, like leave the house.
Yeah. Like, you don't want to be, like I've got Ollie because we're in a tsunami zone, but where we live is not in the tsunami path, right?
There you go.
I've bought a like a ladder and everything, and I'm going to go through all that. We're going to put some floaty stuff. In fact, I'll tell you an amazing story about tsunami. I was up in Khao where we went scuba diving last week, whenever it was, and I was asking all these guys because they got hit real hard with that tsunami in 2004, and I was asking them all about who survived, right? Because they survived. They'd been there through the tsunami and everything. The people I spoke to, and pretty much everybody that survived was floating. That pretty much makes sense, right? So one guy had a bodyboard. The guy who owned our boat, he'd gone down because he was a local, and he'd gone down to the beach and saw the water running out. Then there were people walking out on the flats, and then he saw the wave come and whack. He had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old in his car. He ran back to his car, had electric windows, raised the windows. This is how he tells the story, as the windows hit the top, the wave hit his car and it floated and got carried 200-300 meters. That's like 600-700 feet into the town. Then he hit the ground, and they knew the water was going to come back, so or something. Anyway, he ended up rolling out of the car with his kids, and the car disappeared, and he bloody floated. But anybody who survived, if you float, you don't necessarily survive because there's a lot of, timber and bits and pieces, but everybody who survived was floating. So that's my protocol I'm building.
Even if you have a life jacket and some type of device, even if you was to get hit unconscious, could you be face down? Yes. Could you not be face down? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I know the water that came here, everybody that stayed on the coast and that recorded it, there's videos on YouTube all over the place, but like people were in a house and a wave came up and kind of crashed, and they were like, oh, and they was all outside watching it, and they didn't realize that next wave behind it was so deep, like the depth of the wave behind it had so much, and it pushed these people, blew them in through the doors, the whole house, like in an instant, and people went from thinking it's all fun and games to, oh shit, I might not live.
Yeah, I might not live.
And
But
there's
what's crazy is that you'd only just moved there, right?
Yeah, so Irma came 2018, and we moved here to, I want to say 2019. No, Irma was 2017. We moved here August of 2018. So they were still recovering a little bit from Irma, but it was the only thing, it didn't look like a hurricane had been here. There was some tarps on some roofs, but there was no, like I said, no water damage, nobody, you know. And then there was a bad tropical depression that they thought was going to be a hurricane. And when I was in Dallas, Texas, like the second summer here, but that wasn't that. Now, like a tropical depression to us is a good thunderstorm. You know, when I hear people say that, I really agree. Like it's just a really good storm with a lot of rain. The fishing's going to be good tomorrow. but other than that, but then when that hurricane was coming and I was watching it, and I still got all the screenshots. And the crazy part was, the news kept showing. I wish I had a good computer and I was good with media, you know, and stuff, because I could pull some stuff up right now and drag it and show it. Because like they just showed the water, right? So like at first it don't look like much of an eye. You're watching the water, but if you go to satellite image, you can see the cloudage. You can see what's going on, and literally there's a stream from New York all the way down the coast, and it's getting wrapped into that hurricane. And when I seen that, I said, wow, the atmosphere is pulling everything down the East Coast. All that cool air was somehow getting pulled down in, and that hot air was on that water, just churning. And
wow.
I followed that guy, because if I had followed it,
but you'll be following him on the next one as well.
Yep. I watch a lot of, because he does national weather all over, and he's really good. So he goes with the models. He's got like the American model, the European model, and then he does his own. He draws his own lines, and it's pretty cool. The guy knows what
What's
he's
his
doing.
name, bro?
I'll have to send you the link. I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. He's funny.
Glasses. He's a really cool guy.
That's great. Well, I think that, would you have thought differently if you didn't have a kid?
Yeah, like if I had met her and we didn't have no child, yeah, I still probably would have been, not being crazy, but
just not being crazy, but you'd be more bravado, right? I think, you know, like, but when you got a little kid, you're thinking,
this kid needs me
quite differently
today.
Yeah.
Now, you know, he's going to eat dinner. He's got, you know, so
that's it.
I mean, I had a stepdad growing up, and then I got back in contact with my real dad when I came home, and it's like my dad, both my dads are like very, very manly men. You know, like they're males. They're just, my father was in the military. His entire adult life was a sergeant. You know, in the Army, went through desert storms, been Afghanistan. You know, traveled all over. My stepdad who raised me was always construction. Long hair, hippie, 80s band, played a good electric guitar like you could never believe. I mean, just crash a case of beers and play Van Halen, and dude, you'd melt in the chair. Like you just
wow,
like good dude, man. And he passed away young, so I lost my stepdad at 39. He was a diabetic. He had a heart attack at 39. Then my mom was murdered. Yeah,
no.
So I lost my stepdad. So they divorced. As a year after divorce, I didn't have nobody whoop my ass no more. My mom wouldn't go whoop me. You know, my dad put his hands on me. You know, he wasn't having it. So once they split up, I went buck wild. I jumped on the bull and was riding that thing for 20 seconds. You know, so I got into some bullshit, and it changed my life. And then while I was incarcerated, my mom called me and said, hey, you know, your dad died yesterday. And I'm like, what? She's like, he had a heart attack. I was like, damn, he's 39. Like, what? I was 19 at the time.
Yeah.
And then 1 year later, she was murdered. So I was 20 when that happened.
Wow.
Yeah. And I still had years to go. You know?
Yeah, that just pulls the rug out of from underneath you, you know?
Well, and it did, because I had already been in, like, the amount of time that I had to do, I didn't kind of care for a while when I first got there. You know, I didn't disciplinary, and I don't have to worry about being arrested. I'm here. Well, what are you going to put me in segregation to isolate me away from these clowns for 2 weeks? Please do. Give me a break. So, I'd gotten into some trouble when I'd first got incarcerated for a while, and then I'd got my act together. My mom wanted me to get into college, so I got my act together to get approved for college. You can't be in any trouble, not one write-up, no nothing for an entire year. You can't know nothing. So you gotta. What I say, you got to bitch up. You gotta. What's really right. And if you follow the rules, you do what you're supposed to do. You got some people that'll really see that, and they'll help you along the way. So I'm thankful I had a good support system, and I got accepted for college. All my grant money, everything got accepted. My mom had worked her ass off to help me fill out all the paperwork, and I had signed up to go to what's called the honor dorm. So instead, my mom would come visit me every 2 weeks. Well, if you're in the honor dorm, you can get a visit every week. And instead of an hour, it's 2 hours. So I had a good incentive to stay out of trouble. And I had filled out my paperwork for the honor dorm, and I got approved and was on the waiting list. And so now I'm waiting on college. I'm waiting on the honor dorm. It said that I should be in the honor dorm by August. And then college started in September. And this was, April when this happened. So I got approved, I want to say in February or March. And then, April, her birthday was March 29th, and then April 15th, they found her. And it's crazy because the guy that killed her called the police and said that he was at the gas station. They got him on video at the gas station, but they wasn't hearing it. They arrested him, and then they said that they didn't have enough probable cause. They didn't have a weapon. They couldn't prove that he was the one. And the detective told me, he said, Casey, without a doubt, he said, in 36 years that I've done this, he said, that man killed your mother. He said, unfortunately, I cannot prove it to a jury. He said, but I'm going to tell you as a detective. He said, that man killed your mother. And I was like, man.
What a conversation. What a conversation, right?
Yeah, just a random phone call. I get woke up first thing early in the morning. A counselor come and woke me up out my bed and was like, hey, somebody needs to talk to you. And so they took me up to the captain's office. And the captain sat me down and said, hey, do you have family in the state of Indiana? I said, yeah. I said, my mom and my brother. Those are the only two people I dealt with at the time. And he was like, okay. Like, hold on 1 second. Picked up the phone, dialed the number, handed me the phone. Phone was ringing. I'm just waiting on somebody to answer. And Detective Mitchell, I'll never forget it. Detective Dave Mitchell, Homicide Detective Unit from Indianapolis Police Department. And I said, yeah, this is Casey Army, Putnamville Correctional Facility. He's like, I'm sorry to inform you that your mother was murdered this morning. And so the state had took my brother because we didn't have any other family. I had some family, but they were cousins, and my brother's, he's autistic. So nobody, he needs special needs, and nobody would take him. So the state took him, and they would not release any information. I've never seen him again since my last visitation with my mother.
Wow.
He was 13 years old, and that was 2007. I've never heard a peep. I can't find him. I don't know where he's at. And here I am thinking I've had it rough, and here he is, an adult now, 30 years old, born 1994. Well, he'd be 30, and December 10th, he'll be 30 this year. And I haven't since he was 13.
And he knows he's got a brother.
He knows he's got a brother. Yeah, he knows that.
Joy.
He's got autism. He's definitely still functionable. Like he does quite a bit. The kid's very intelligent.
Well, autism is normally highly intelligent kids, He's
really niched in certain areas.
Yeah, so
don't even care to even think about in life, and there's things that he's just like, this is my thing.
Right. And they get in on it. Yeah,
it's good. I mean, he's he would hone in, and man, he could just critique anything. I mean, and it's like, where's he at? What's going on with him?
Wow.
So
when did you meet what's your wife's name?
Casey.
Casey as well?
Yes, same way, same spelling.
Because Ollie, where is she? Is she there?
Yeah, she's making dog food for the puppy when she go get.
Oh, what a good thing! Hey,
it's chicken.
She's like,
fantastic.
Yeah, no, she's a hell of a window cleaner, man. She goes in the buildings. She does it all.
Wow.
Home mom now for
almost 2 years.
How
18.
how old were you guys when you met?
So she was 21. I was 29. The first younger woman that I've ever dated. I've always been into older women personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's less hassle.
Yeah.
There's no wow factor. I'm the younger guy. Stop, show up and have a good time. And yeah, her mom. Well, so I was fishing with her brother, right? So it's one of those brother stories. I met her brother online fishing, and we hung out a few times. And I kind of took him in like my little brother. He's kind of always needs somebody around him to kind of keep guiding him, and he's a kid. And then work got slow, so her mom was. I run a logistic company. She was like, "You want to drive 2 days a week for 40 hours?" She was like, "It's 20 hours one day, 20 hours the next." She said, "I don't care if you can do it in 10. If you can do it in 12, I'll pay 20." I said, "Okay." So, and me and her mom were already cool from me hanging out with her brother fishing. And so I worked for her mom for a while. And then her mom kept telling me, "You need to date my daughter. You need to date my daughter." And I was like,
Wow.
"Julie, are you serious?" And she was like, "Yeah." She was like, you need to get with Casey." And then so I was telling her one day, I was joking with her. I was like, I said, "Your mom thinks we need to be together." And we just both started laughing about it. And I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, who her brother and I were living with, helping with her with her grandparents. And she had cheated on me. She had done some stupid shit. I'd done some stupid shit. And we finally had been fed up. And her brother used to come get me. Whenever I needed an out, I'd be like, "Come get me, bro." And he didn't drive. She drives. Right. So like I said, he needs a little hand to hold him. So he wasn't driving. And so she was like, "I'm coming to get you." And so she told me, she's like, "I'm not coming back." She's like, "Get in the car, let's go." And yeah, ever since then,
Wow.
stuck like glue. 9 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Aren't
Yep.
you a lucky guy, eh?
Dude, I'm telling you, so lucky. All the laundry's done. When she gets done eating, as soon as she's done eating, it's dishes. Like there's no such thing as dirty dishes in my house. Like everything is, I love it. I feel like I'm old school, like my dad used to say. "I'll pay
Right.
the bills, you stay home." But it's boring. I get it. She's the baby's a year old. She's ready to get back.
Yeah.
She's ready.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's ready for some help around the house. I only do honey to-do lists when I know she needs it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes, sometimes people like it done their way and they don't want the other person, because some people would say, "Well, that's misogynistic or whatever." And then you go, "No, no, no." Like some people just like to do it. That's their thing. And they don't want anybody else doing it. They don't do it the same way as they do, and they like doing it, like,
There's definitely a handful of women that thoroughly enjoy, like, "Hey, I know
yeah,
my house. He pays for it, but
yeah,
it's my house." Same like with my
yeah,
car. The
yeah,
car's it's her car.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
hers.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
everything
it's
here.
kind of like the nesting, like if we just talk in animal terms, it's the nesting, like somebody's got to look after the nest and somebody protects the nest and provides for the nest, like it's like that, kind of thing. Whereas I've done a lot of my life where I'm like, even now I feed Ollie in the mornings before he goes to school, and I wash all the dishes before I come and do the podcast. And then this house I've rented has got a cleaner, which is great. So she comes through and sweeps the floors. And so I don't have to think about the floors, but I've got it's got a washing machine. Like a lot of the people in Thailand, there's people that do you just take your bag of washing, pick it up the next day. But I got a washing machine put into this place, so I wash all the clothes and everything, and hang
That's
them
cool.
and then hang them up and do all the
Right.
Mr. Mum. I call myself Mr. Mum and Nanny,
Mr. Nanny.
Well, especially when he broke his leg, he couldn't do shit, right? So he goes, "Hey, he needs Dad, I need to pee." Like, so I'm with him, 24/7. I got to take his little bottle to him, and he pees. And
Is he doing?
Yeah, I
Is
gotta go take the dog.
his legs back doing good, isn't it?
Yep, he's doing great. It's not until August that he can motorbike ride or do crazy shit,
Take a chance. Yeah, take a chance on re-injuring that he don't want to. Thank God he's young and he can grow.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So he's
where did you break it?
eh?
Where on his leg? What bone did he break?
It's called a radial break on the tibia. So the doctor said it's pretty typical for like kids. They'll try and dunk the ball at that age, you know, in basketball, and then they'll land on the court, and then it doesn't snap like this. It radial breaks in the length, and the doctor said like because he's grown 10 inches in a year or whatever, you know. So and the doctor said his bone is not bone; it's honeycomb, right? It's not bone. You think it's bone.
So when I solid mass, yeah.
So I taught him to ride motorbikes on the Sarons, the electric motocross bikes, right, which we've got in China. And then I came here and he didn't know how to use gears and clutch. So I put him out with a Thai champion motocross rider and say, teach him gears and clutch. Well, he's riding so well that the guy goes, he doesn't need much help, right? So he took him on a little track through the jungle, but then he stalled and the guy had never told him to pull the clutch in when he stalls, right? You know what I mean? Or he slowed down until he stalled. Then the bike's falling over and he hasn't realized the bike's falling over and it's a 130 pound, 130 kilogram, 280, 290 pound.
Yep.
And then he's put his leg out at the last minute to try and, because he's going over already. It's already got momentum, you know, and then he's put his leg out and then we just broke like that, you know.
Pushed it straight down.
Too much weight, too much impact. You didn't do anything wrong. He's on a straight bit of track out in the jungle. And the guy, I'm not there. I'm just sitting on a tree stump, you know, doing Facebook or something, you know. And the guy comes back to me and he says, your son says he's broken. so I had to jump on his bike and he jumped on his wife's bike because his wife and kid had come out to play in the sand or dirt or mud. There's a little creek that Dolly was riding across and all that. So we rode out and fortunately the guy hadn't pushed him to walk or anything like that. So Ollie's going, I know my leg's broken, right? So then we had to call an ambulance and then they had to bring the stretcher and carry him out through the jungle at night and into a four-wheel drive, from the four-wheel drive to the ambulance, from the ambulance to the hospital.
Man.
Hilarious.
He made it though.
Yeah, and I'm so glad because we were meant to go diving with Harrison on this trip that we just did. We were meant to go with Harrison 3 days later. Anyway, so I'm meant to be interviewing you, but I'm telling you my stories. But so that got cancelled. But then those people said it's okay to bounce it. So I bounced it to the next school holidays. But then the doctor said it's not healed enough. If he has to paddle hard, right, in a current, it's not strong. The bone's not strong enough. So then we bounced it to the last dive tour of the year, which means I had to take him out of school. But he came off his crutches 3 days before we went diving. So you can imagine the freedom of 18 dives. I think he did 16 of the 18, you know, just the freedom, no crutches, you know, just swimming.
That was that was a moment of life for him.
Yeah.
He will never forget that.
Nah.
So what's up with this Service Sigma, man? I like this. I didn't read the whole thing. I was trying to. Had a lot going on earlier. And
yeah. Well, it's just meandering and evolving. You know, Ben and I came up with the idea like as a way of adding value and working together, and maybe we'll get some benefit from it from a Reach It point of view, but it's not about Reach It, you know. And then it's kind of evolved where, you know, fortunately some of the industry leaders have said, yeah, Blake, come on in. And some of them have said, come again and all that. So it's kind of just meandering along, you know, adding value, because what we're trying to do is, you know, tell life stories of guys, you know, some of them are super successful. Some of them are on the way to success. You know, some of them, like your one is, you know, from bad to blessed. I love the story from bad to blessed because there's a lot of guys who have had a bad start, you know.
Yes, very much.
And I had a bad start, but it was way younger, right? Like I was setting fires to building and shoplifting and shit like that because my mum didn't want me, so I got orphaned, you know. But I got a foster family that cleaned me up, and then I joined the Navy at 15. So then I got cleaned up, you know, I was good. But not everybody gets that, you know, and then they have to clean themselves up later, which is like your story. Well, I mean, every reason why you went wild because your life was just like you're in a vortex. You're in a tsunami and you're trying to float. You know, like you go, like, yes.
Didn't even know what was going on until I
No
realized.
idea. Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, it all out of when it's all said and done, I guess the end result, the hardest part for me is my brother's still alive, I assume. Where is he?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's like my mom and dad are gone. I can't do nothing about that. You know, there's nothing.
No.
I love him.
No.
I can't do nothing about that. But my brother, where the hell is he? You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Wow. That's just bizarre.
It's
I know.
crazy.
I mean, you follow Carlos, of course, right?
Huh?
Do you follow Carlos Gonzalez?
I don't think so.
You know, so Carlos Gonzalez is EBC. So the EBC chemicals.
Okay,
And
I
he's
know
like,
the chemicals.
yeah, so Carlos, you go back and watch the podcast with him. But anyway, Carlos is 4 years ago, Carlos's daughter Madison went missing. And for the last 4 years, they didn't know where she was. And last weekend, they found her. Right? So she's good, but they haven't bonded again. In his little post, he said they haven't bonded. You see, she's not back with them. She had a car accident. If I've got the story right, she had a car accident and reformed her world without them. And my sister did the same. So I understand that. My sister had a horrific car accident and then just rejected me, and not rejected me immediately because I actually helped rehabilitate her. But in the end, she rebuilt her life without my parents, without me, without my brother, you know. And I think that might, you know, just be one of those things that happens as people who can't walk and talk and need to learn to walk and talk. They actually rebuild.
Yep.
You know, and maybe some of the traumatic experiences of their childhood become the long-term memories which come into the present, and then they form the emotional opinions about those people based on the worst of the long-term memories rather than the best of them. Or I don't know. I don't know what.
Yep. No, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, you know, Carlos is in a very blessed position where he knows she's still alive, but he's not in the blessed position where he's got her back in his arms, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, at least she's alive. Hey,
I know.
Is it against rules for me to smoke a cigarette on podcasts?
No, not for me.
Okay. I just wanted to ask before. I know it sounds stupid to ask. I'd rather you tell me no, honestly, on live.
Yeah, no, I don't give a, like, I just go, there's no censorship for us. People are people. We do what we do, you know?
Yeah. It's not so professional though. This is,
Well, what's professional?
It's as look, Ben's like, Casey, you said you weren't gonna smoke on a cast. Look,
you got the dad look.
Man. I'm like, I need a cigarette. I'm excited, man. I get some time to talk to you. Like, this is cool, man. I'm very, very thankful. I'm very excited because you've played a big part, you know, and where I'm at today and why I am where I am. So that's a fact, without a doubt.
That's funny, isn't it? It's weird that I can be on the other side of the world. And have you ever read the book, The Celestine Prophecy?
No, sir.
I don't read many books. I haven't read many books in my life, maybe 12, you know.
Yep.
But the one that I've read was The Celestine Prophecy. So when you read a book, it comes to you, right? And you read it and they go, well, that's meant to be. But the Celestine Prophecy basically teaches you the principle that when you meet people and you connect with them, don't take it for granted. It's serendipity, but explained really, really well with a beautiful novel, right? And when you connect with somebody, and that, like, as you said, we're all eye to eye, everybody else is falling asleep and you and me are like right in there, you know, then that is a meant to be, you know, for a reason or a season, you know, and should be explored and should be, you know, you and I have reached out to each other from time to time, just on Messenger, like, how you doing and what's going on? Or, you know, you see one of my posts or I see one of your posts, and then we go to Messenger and check that you're cracking it, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I've always been fact over opinion. Right. So like, it just like, maybe it's from the construction, you know, growing up, everything that dad did was fact. If you give somebody a measurement and they cut it and it's wrong, you messed up, not the cut guy. The cut guy cut your measurement. You know,
Right.
like you can't get around it. It's fit, like it's fact. So when you weren't a used car salesman, as I like to say. You know,
Yeah.
you weren't like trying to pitch somebody, you know, the next, just, you know, we're going to say it's the next best thing, but who knows? I'm just here to, like, I need to sell my shit. No,
Right.
like, you used everything was fact, and you're like, I have a solution for it. So it was like, okay, let me see. And like, just everything that you had said when you started explaining hydrophilic glass, and I had just got into glass, and I'm like, I've never heard these guys talk about it. They don't care. They sling a mop around, you know, wipe an edge, and they're gone, you know, like, and they
Yeah.
said water machine don't work. Oh, it works. It works real good. It works real good. You just
Real good.
know what you're doing, and you got to have the right equipment.
Yeah. And we got it to work better. I mean, I really thought when I got into it, I thought this is a 3 to 4 year project, and I'll crack this, you know, because water-fed hadn't changed in 50 years, 60 years at that time from the Tucker brothers like design. Everybody was copying what he designed, you know, 50 years ago. Same as squeegee rubber. Squeegee rubber hasn't changed for 90 years, I think. 90 years.
Like the make of the rubber.
The way it's made, like now there's the TPUs and TPRs, like the colored ones, but the black ones, they're a compressed rubber in a heat environment, and but the size, shape, width, like, you know, nothing's the chalk dust that they put on it, the like everything, 90 years. Right now they're extruding, right? When you see the colored ones, it's extruded, right? Rather than being pressed, you can only press like 40 inches at a time. So, so, you know, that's my 2025 project is with Byron Guest Modman is his name on YouTube, but Byron, we're playing with the whole squeegee mop rubber thing.
So my next move, because so when I worked at Cleanup Group, they used to complain because I'm doing high rise, and you got to have rags all around your belt, you know, for toweling your edges. And these guys, I'm burning these guys down the wall, and they're like, Casey, you know, at first guys were snickering. Well, I bet he's got rundowns. He's got this. He's got that. No callbacks. I didn't have any callbacks. So I'm real big on if there's a callback, we find out who did that drop and you go fix it. I'm not going to fix your shit. So not unless the boss tells me to. So, so the boss tells me, I just say, yes, sir. But so these guys would use the same rubber, and the very first thing to go on your rubber is the edges, right? From the caulking and everything, rubbing the friction. So these guys use towels and they wipe their edges. Well, I would just, as soon as I go to pull that rubber back across the glass, if I got that little line in the glass that I got to chase because the edge of my rubber is no good no more, I'm done. I'm flipping the rubber. I'm doing that until, and so there's a lot of frames, and these guys wipe on commercial buildings, wipe every square inch of the frame, and they're only charging $400 a day per guy. The company's not making much money, you know, like I see the math real simple. I see the payouts, and I told them, like, you got to get guys faster. And the only way you'll get guys faster is with using more rubber. Like, you're going to give pennies to make dollars. And so Tommy was like, Casey, it's $4 a rubber. He said, if I give a guy a rubber every day, he said, that's crazy. I said, Tommy, $4 is what percent of 400? It's 1%. The most important, one of the most important tools to make a guy efficient is 1% of what you charge. Now, go to a roofing company and tell me what their percent of overhead is. You know, outside, like for like materials. Let's talk materials. You're talking pennies on the dollar. And so I would do, if I'm doing 4 drops a day, I do 2 drops, I flip it, I do 2 drops, I trash it. Because by the time I'm done with that second drop, from me cutting all those frames, drying with that squeegee, getting all that water off everywhere, my rubber's screwed. And so, guys, I told them, if you have a good rubber, your corners are going to cut clean. If not, the sun's going to hit it, and you're going to see these little swooshes in the corner, you know. and guys got to towel everything. So once guys got on the bandwagon about, oh, hey, I need good rubber, good rubber, good rubber, good rubber, guys, and then before I knew it, guys that used to be considered slow were zipping right down the wall. And everybody's like, dude, you're allowed one rubber a week. And I'm like, one rubber a week? You're cutting 300 panes a day and they're giving you one rubber a week, bro. And it's like, what, man, they better leave me alone. Rubbers. So I went through that whole fiasco, and then they even pulled out a book where you had to sign it every day. Like anytime you got a rubber, you had to sign it. And so I told him, hey, every day, I don't care, because the guy that used to give us the materials, went up there, go on cases, getting a rubber every day. And so like, hey, let me show you. Here's a rubber that I've only used for 2 days. Here's a window. You see what it looks like. And he's like, well, you towel it out. I said, would you want me to do that on every window? And there's 2 or 3 windows for 30 floors. Now, how efficient is that when I can just put this rubber, switch the rubber, do the next window next to it? There's nothing needs towel. That window is bing.
Yeah.
There's water nowhere, nothing. The window's clean. Like, I don't, what do I need to wipe? There's nothing to wipe. So
great. Hey, are you doing any rope work now?
Oh yeah. Yep. I do quite a bit of rope work for what it is. There was a lot of rope work that I've cut down to water pole work.
Yeah.
That's all like hospital work.
Yep.
I normally make, with the people that I'm with now, I normally make 2 different pays. I make a ground pay and then I make a rope pay. And the rope pay is pretty much almost double what the ground pay is. So the hospital work, it doesn't pay a whole lot. So I found out a way to use the water pole instead of using ropes.
The rope.
Yep, because it's like 60 feet. I want to say it's like 60 feet. It's 5 floors. I thought it was 6. It's 5.
Right. But it can still be 60 feet because they usually have a high ground floor ceiling, so you get this grand entrance feeling, right?
It's like 12-foot ceiling. Yep.
Yeah.
So they would use, the roller roof rigs, right? So
Yep.
like put one roller on the north side, one roller on the south side of the building, and then they would have 2 guys in the midsection that's in between doing straight drops. So you got 6 guys, and then they got a guy on the ground doing groundwork, and it would take 7 guys a day to finish it. So 7, what we call 7-man days.
Yep.
Now it's 2 guys, 2 days. It's done.
Great.
And it's just because I have full control pretty much of all operations. It's the big dog, like, hey, Casey, go look at this building and you tell me what you think. And so like when I first left the company, I didn't have nobody with me, and I was trying to bring some people with me. So I'm like, hey, look, man, I got rope work, $2,500 a week. And they're like, dude, there's no way, dude. Nobody's paying $2,500 a week for rope work. And finally somebody bit the bait, and he got a $200, tip on top of the 25. He got a $2,700 check for 5 days worth of rope work. And so it's been on like Donkey Kong ever since. And then he was like, well, I gotta get you guys on payroll. I gotta do things a little bit different. Let's do this. He's like, I'll pay you $50 an hour on ropes. And I was like, okay, that sounds good to me. I'll take 50. So I get taxed. Now I don't have to worry about it myself. I don't have to worry about insurance, the liability of everything until I can really be situated. Like I feel like if I can't afford for something to happen, I shouldn't be doing it. If something was to happen and I can cover it and keep going, well, then by God, I need to be doing it. If I can cover my ass, then I need to go. So if I can't, then I can only do what I can do. So yeah,
we've got a guy in Australia who's bought 3 or 4 G-forces doing rope work.
Okay.
Right? Because G stands for gyro. You can spin it 360 on the glass, like straight on.
Oh,
but
okay.
You can go. You think how far out? It's got like full flat, like gyro function, and it's a water-fed. It's like a water-fed brush, but it's just a water-fed pad, right? And it's the gyro is the secret to it. But you imagine how far out to one side you can go, and how far out to the other side you can go, how far up, how far down, like, and it stays flat.
Square. Yep, and keeping it square on the glass.
Always square on the glass. And the reason we developed it is for all the guys who do groundwork and pool fencing and stuff like that, because you have to turn, as soon as you get below to your waist, you have to turn sideways. And then when you get down, you've either got to crouch down, or the water's at the bottom and you need the water at the top to give you the rinse. So then you got to take it off and rinse again. But with G-Force, you just twist the pole 180 degrees and the water's on top, right? And the other one is, if you think about what window cleaners do, we like push shit uphill, right? We push the dirt up and we ask for gravity to bring it down. Then we push it up and ask for gravity to bring it down. So the same as our logic on the solar brush, right, is we realize that actually we should be using gravity to pull it off. So we put the jets on the bottom. You can, on your downstroke, you're going faster than the speed of the water would go under gravity. So then you're turbulating the water, right? And then you can just pull all the dirt off in a single stroke. Well, G-Force can do that, because you can switch from having the jets down, pull all the dirt off in the first action, right? Do the window, then turn it 180 degrees, and then you do the window again, agitate on the upstroke, rinse on the downstroke, but the jets are on the top, so you got your spot free rinse at the end. Yeah.
Yep. So that would help with definitely, like, so something like if I have big pane glass that I need water to travel down, if it's clean, I start at the top. If it's dirty, I start at the bottom. And the reason why, so a lot of people that I see, they always go to the top. And I tell people, if you go to the top, you see that water starts breaking up down that glass. It's taking the least past the resistance. It's almost like pressure washing. People start building up a big pile, and they have to continuously push this big pile. Where I'll take that pressure washer and get the ground in front of me, that concrete soaking wet, and push my nose down to start kicking it way out of that pile, and spread it out, and then push the pile, what's left into a pile, and then same thing. And it travels it so much quicker, because it's dry, everything wants to stick to where it's dry. So
I grew up on a dairy farm. So while I've never done pressure washing, I grew up on a dairy farm, and after every milking, you can imagine this, like there's a biblical scripture, like, where there are no cattle, the stall is clean, Well, hell, I grew up, like, we had 80 milking cows, right? And after every session, I had to hose down the yard, right? So, and that's exactly what I would do, like, push it all out, like, wet in front, so make sure everything stays soft, and then push it out and then clean, and then push it out and then clean. Yeah.
It's like, for me, the only way to keep it in suspension, keep it in, keep it up in the water. You want it to stay in water.
Exactly the right word, by the way.
Going to pull it, so.
I mean, hardly anybody knows the difference between solution and suspension. Like, you hear people, like, I'm just geeking out here, but you hear people thinking that DI water cleans windows better, and like blah 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 blah, and you go, dude, everything that you're taking off that window is going into suspension, right? DI water takes minerals into solution.
Agree.
That's its job.
It holds it,
right? But it's suspension, so you need turbulence. You don't need hot water or chemicals or anything. You just need activity. You need agitation. Keep it moving, keep it in suspension, and then your spot-free rinse will work for you. Yeah.
Yep.
Fascinating.
Yes, I love it. I do.
What's fascinating is that so few people care about the efficiency of a window cleaner, whereas in the pressure washing industry, it's obvious that the leaders of the industry and the manufacturers and most of the resellers, all the resellers, I think, because they have to service, they've got a relationship. The gear that they sell, they have to service. So they've got a relationship with their customer. Whereas water-fed window cleaning there's no real relationship, because we don't service it. It's all like, our stuff is all, you can change your bristles and change your block, change your end caps. You can you can service it yourself, right? There's no send it back for a service or anything. So you don't get that relationship where you can say, hey, have you thought about this? And hey, have you thought about that? And hey, are you doing this? And hey, are you doing that? And hey, if you use this, it'll go faster. And hey, if you change to this, it'll, you just don't. We don't have that contact time with the customer, and the product's not worth enough there's not enough money in the product to fund that as an experience. You buy one of our brushes and we'll give you a year's free
No.
consultation.
Yeah, no, right? No, it's not there.
So they've just got to listen to me on YouTube.
That's fine. I will. That's for sure. I like it. I mean, it's just been like everything is just it's been evolving, man, and like
Yeah.
I love the fact that same like the swivel, right? So I'll keep it simple. A lot of guys that I work with use straight mops, right? I use a swivel mop because the way when I'm pushing it on the glass and I move my hand around, that mop stays square because it has an angle that it can pivot on, right? So when I'm turning, or if I'm doing pole work, guys that have we go from big windows to skinny windows, they got to grab a different mop. No, I just turn mine vertical. Like it can swivel, push the pole up and it stays square to the glass. Same thing with my squeegee. It's swivel. I like it loose. If I have a 22, I don't want to have to go from doing big panes and then now I got a window pane that's only 6 inches, 7 inches wide, but it's 28 inches, 32 inches tall, 40 inches tall, and I got to use this little squeegee. Like, no, I just put my squeegee up vertical and I side pull it. And if need be, I just take a rag on the pole and go down that side that I close out on, and I'm clean. I don't,
How much of your squeegee work do you fan? None, right?
Well, it depends on what you consider.
When we say none, it's not none. There's always something for everything.
I say that I box windows out. I don't fan windows, right? So I don't. When I'm mopping my window, the most important part for me is probably 2 inches off that frame, right? Is like where I keep my pressure all the way around. The rest of that middle, unless there's bird poo or something on it, it's pretty smooth. And then when I cut my window, it is literally like, let me see, what is it? Whoops, hold on. Whoops, hold on. So like, for instance, look, I got all kinds of squeegee stuff, handles, I got all kinds of stuff. So this is just random, right? So let me see. Here's this will give you a good idea. So if I'm doing this door, I'm literally just going to come up, I'm going to cut across, and I'm going to bring this all the way down to where I can and come back up and come straight down and close out. I won't go down.
No, exactly.
I won't do that.
Good. And I'll tell you the other tip, Casey, when you get to the bottom corner, right? Everything's the wrong way around. I'll go to this one. Like you come across the top, you tip this normally oh shit, this is too hard. But when you get to the bottom corner, go into the bottom corner, where is it there, and turn it around and pull it, the other way, pull it that way, so that that whole frame is now done. That way, when you go to close out, you're not going back across to that corner as part of your closeout.
No.
So you go down to the corner, pull it into pull all that off. So this is now finished. I think that's because we do the same with the brushes,
Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Yes. Like,
it's a proper box. You take the corners and you take it out. And then if there is anything left in the middle, you go back up and take the middle out. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes if it's real wide, I call it like, it's almost like a mini fan. If I go all the way here, because I use that corner, that rubber, to drive the water down the frame. So I cut my thing is cut the frame first. So when I cut that frame, it's clean. Now, like you said, now I can come back and come down. If it's a little bit wider than what I need, I just kind of go like just a little bit.
That's
like
when you can fan.
Just enough to catch it. But I keep my squeegee as horizontal.
The key is if you've got an 18-inch squeegee, like Peter Thomas and I, like we send each other videos from Instagram where I just screen record them and we just go, oh my God, like the number of people that are using, like when you put a squeegee at 45 degrees, right? And even its width now, if that was a 12-inch squeegee, you now have 9 inches.
Yes.
Right? It's 12 inches from there to there. As soon as you go to 45, it's 9 inches from there to there. Then you want an overlap. So they overlap hopefully an inch. half the time they overlap 3 inches. So now they're at 6
Scrubbers are
inches.
bad.
And then they sometimes they overlap half of it. So they're using like 4.5 inches of a 12-inch squeegee on cleaning, and the rest of it is traveling over glass you've already squeegeed. And I go, no wonder these guys earn so little and don't work fast, you know?
Yeah, like when you say the brush needs to be, like twice the size, you should be able to do 2 strokes on a window.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
Overlap in the
windows
middle.
that you can. And I'm a firm believer, Perry, the exact same thing with a squeegee. So
Yes.
when we
Well, that's where I got it from. I got it from the squeegee.
we do residential window cleaning, and you'll have a standard, what I call a standard window, right? So it's like half the size of a door, maybe not even that, a little shorter. And guys will break out the smallest squeegee for these windows, and I'll break out like a 12-inch squeegee, 14-inch squeegee, because literally it's the same thing. I can mop the window, and I can just take my corner and just go all the way around that frame, and when I come over, I'm done. Like all I do is cut the edge. The squeegee cleans the inside of the window. I don't have to worry about it. Like
that's it. That's it. There's no overlap. Like no, there is an overlap. You overlap in the center. There's no middle of the window to clean.
There's no. That's it. So a lot of people when they see,
Well, we get guys. We've got a product in our range called Reload. And I don't. I don't know. I kind of got like over trying to tell people how to do things. But we've got a product called Reload, and you can actually carry a second squeegee on your belt now. You like Ben has started using it. He's carrying a G-Force or I think he carries the G-Force because he loves the G-Force, but he carries the G-Force and he might have a radial rocker or whatever it is that he's using as his aggressive brush. But the fact that if you are going to change out, it's got to be right there with you, but the most important thing is you size the brush for the window, right? Or size the squeegee for the window. So you reduce because work is a sign. I'm going to geek out for you, right? No, work is a scientific term, right? If you go to Wikipedia, say what's work? What's the work? Work is force through distance, right? So if you want to do less work, you need less. You either use less force or it travels less distance.
Yes.
Right.
Makes
so
sense.
if I can keep your brush on the glass, you're going to do less work, right? Because you're not going to be lifting it off and holding it and doing this. And if I can get you agitating on the upstroke, rinsing on the downstroke, you're going to travel less distance. If I can persuade you to do straight pulls and use the full width of your squeegee or brush in each action and clean top to bottom, which is what you call boxing out, right? Clean top to bottom in every stroke, right? Don't do part of the window, unless you have particular conditions, which G-Force solves now, by the way, right? Yep. Is that why you clean the bottom first? G-Force, you turn it upside down, the water's on the bottom, and you pull all the dirt off in the first stroke because it's turbulating. It's in suspension. There's none of that heavy dirt on, and then it's just a light window clean second pass, right?
Makes sense. Yep. It's just putting the water on the glass then.
Yeah.
That's it. Because a lot of times when I'm washing glass, I've tried to teach these guys, especially it's really easy on hydrophilic glass, that when we do a lot of maintenance every 6 months, so the glass is really clean for what it is.
Yep.
You have a couple, like first, maybe the second floor, but third and fourth floor always. And so even then, like I'll start at the bottom of the window and just work my way up real quick. And when I get to the top, I just kind of float back and forth twice. And I can see that water coming down. It's done. It's done. And people are like, dude, you only scrubbed the window. Like you went up and down once across it. How do you? And I say, if it was dirty, it's why I tell them, put the brush at the top. Now watch the water run down. Now just stroke half the window and then put the water on it and watch it run down. Put the water on the half that you didn't stroke. If the water's running perfectly down the window,
it's going to rinse.
See something physically, unless your eye can see it, it's gone. Like
exactly
you need
that.
Like you don't have to. Guys that don't know, they will scrub a window and scrub a window and scrub.
I've seen them scrubbing for four minutes a window and stuff like that. And it does good, dude. It should be 10 seconds. The other tip that I give Casey, like just in training, is like the guys are traditional and then they get into water fed and they think they know water fed, but then you watch their technique. But I always go, if you saw this window, how many passes of your mop would you put over this window before you pull your squeegee out? Now, if it's one pass of the mop, dude, it's one pass of a radial brush. The other brushes are not the same because we have blades. Like the water doesn't go through a reach it brush, right? A radial brush. The water sits on top of it. They're blades. It's 100% coverage in a single stroke. So if you had only gone over it once with a mop for your agitation, why do you need to go over it more than once with a brush? If your brush has got solid, full contact with the window.
And I'm a firm believer in that. And I think that one pass with a solid brush is even more efficient and better than one pass with a mop, know, and because of the amount of fibers that really can connect, the strength of the fiber.
Total contact. Especially like my favorite brush, Casey, I love the G-Force because you can clean to your feet without bending your back. Like I love that. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful innovation. And it's also, you can put it behind security screens because it's only like less than half an inch. And you can slide it to one side like you can a squeegee. You can slide it so you can get up underneath a hurricane shutter. You can get up under there, by using the full length of it on one side of the clamp, But my favorite is the ultralight because the ultralight's got the bristles that dig, and then it's got a small scrubby pad, which is the most pounds per square inch of any pad in the market because it's a small scrubby pad.
All the power. Yep.
And so you've got half of your agitation is bristles that are at 35 degrees, same angle as a blade, right? 35 degrees held there. The block is holding them at the right angle, so they can't compress any further and go flat. And then the block is running an agitation parallel to the glass. Right, so that running parallel to the glass, you're scraping
directions,
or grabbing. Like we've got a rubber one, and Tomcat's another one, right, where we grab bee-poo and stuff like that, which is greasy, waxy stuff, needs to be grabbed. You can't blade it. And then we've got carborundum and stuff like that, which scrape it. So you're scratching anything which can be scratched off and put into suspension, and then the pad comes along and does the polish job.
The polish job. Yeah, I know that green scrubby that's on the rockers. I love that thing. And the white pad.
Funny, eh?
White pad.
Do you know where I got that from? I got that from a guy in India had made himself a solar brush using floor mat. That's what that material is. Floor
mat. Makes sense. Yep, makes sense.
And I go, that makes so much sense because I always think in friction coefficients and stuff like that. It has a great friction coefficient, right? So it grabs anything that's on the glass. It just grabs it. And because it's all meshy like a bird's nest, nothing stays in it like microfiber. That's the problem with mop or microfiber. Everything stays in it. It's a grab and hold agitator, not a grab and release agitator, which is what white non-scratch pad or things like that they can release because they've got the porous.
Yep, it can work. It works. It does the job. I mean, I've done not the best, but pre-cleaning, like construction pre-cleaning. I've gotten so much paint, like your cheese grater brush. I'm at the pad cheese grater.
Yep.
I've took off silicone paint. I go back with the steel wool or the bronze wool and buff it up, because the grater get the chunks off, but then I still got what's in the glass.
Yes.
So it's been. It's been a whirlwind doing construction cleans, trying to explain to some of these people. We did a job, and the guy and my wife did some scraping on the glass. I did some scraping on the glass, and the next day there were scratches everywhere, and they were like, "Oh my God, what did you guys do to the glass?" And I was like, "Well, he told us to use scrapers," and I said, "But there was no scratches on this glass when we were done yesterday. When we left, this glass looked really good." So something in my brain was like, "Bro, you did this. You seen it. This glass was not scratched." So I don't know what made me Google it, but scratches grow in glass, right? So I have to find the link, and I'm gonna send it to you. So how it grows, it gives a whole explanation of what it is and what happens. But it shows basically all it is the glass manufacturers, when they manufacture the glass, when they rinse it and they're compressing it, they rinse it and then they could like heat compress. I forget what that's called, the proper term for it.
Yeah.
But when it goes through the rinse, they're rinsing all these shavings that's supposed to come off the glass, and they don't clean their filters, and things get sucked up in the machines, back in the jets, gets put back on the glass. So what it is razor. It's not the razor blade like that's scratching glass, right? So like there's this big myth that razor blades scratch glass. Razor blades do not scratch glass. The periodic table, carbon steel, does not scratch. It does not. You can dig it. You can put a knife in. You can do what you want, and it's not going to scratch it. What scratches it are things that are on the glass, in the glass, that get trapped and get drug across. So what it is there's all these microscopic shards of glass, right? You can run your hand on it. You'll never feel it. You can only see it with a microscope. And so when you put that razor on that glass, it pulls and dislodges these shards of glass and drags it across the glass. And for the glass that the scratches grow in, you won't see nothing except for 18 to 36 hours later, the scratches can grow. I think it's like 500 times their initial size. Like, and it's got where they show it under a micro. They do it, and then they see it on the microscope. You can see all the scratches, and then they show it the next day, and like it's all visible to the human eye. Like, holy shit, what happened? You know, so it's not like let's do a test area. Oh, hey, this is good. You know, and then you come back and you don't look at your test area the next day. You just did it for your estimate. Hey, this is fine. We can do this. We could put scrapers on it. There's no lamp, you know, there's no coating. It's not ELO glass. You know, everything's fine. And then you don't go back the next day or the next time to see that. And then you do all this glass. Well, now when you do not just a corner, you could see it.
Wow. Have you seen our new Z-Force?
I've just seen a picture of it.
Right.
I just seen a picture of
it. The water-fed blade. So it's got the carbon steel blades, but it water-feds. But my logic on that, you know, it's with Peter Thomas that I developed it. So I'm not saying I thought of it, but Peter's my brains trust, you know, and but the logic, and Kai Chin was the first person who made one, but up in Seattle. But the logic is that it's flushing everything off the front of the blade all the time, right? Compared to when you've got soap on there, you're reworking, everything's still there. Like, and then we get back to the pressure washing where you're pushing the shit in front of you, right? And it's still there, you know.
There, the blade, right in front of the blade.
Yeah. Right, so that's where I think Z-Force will find its place, you know, for the guys who are professional and doing construction cleans and wanting to take, you know, stuff off glass that only a blade will do. And then we're just releasing now a plastic blade for it, because some of the guys who do pool fencing, which is the tempered glass, you know, it's got a treatment on it that they don't want to put a blade on. I know why, right? But they can put a plastic blade. So we've just manufactured a plastic blade that matches our Z-Force, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, I got that yesterday. So.
Yeah, I need to get with Joe. I need to get some other stuff, because I've been buying them Elite packages, and I've got so much, man.
Well, I know there's loads. We're just about to redesign the Elite. We had a phone call yesterday, 2 phone calls yesterday, or messenger group things. You know, we were redesigning it because we got so much new stuff, and we haven't really thought about, you know, how to put it all in. And then we've got Flow Gold, and then we've got some good things happening.
Right. Yeah.
Hey,
go ahead.
I want to go. Where do I want to go? I want to understand how good your life is.
And I mean, other than outside the American dollar being outrageous, you know, bills.
Oh, your inflation and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys? I'm gonna go back because I forgot this question. Do you have double? You know, like single pane windows, or are they double windows?
AG glass, as they call it, the like gas insulated.
Gas insulated, right?
Yeah, they're like.
Oh, because the hurricanes, right?
they're so thick, and everything is different. Like anytime I have a construction clean, and if I'm on a construction site talking to the superintendent, I need to know. I tell them I want the paperwork from the manufacturer. I want to email the manufacturer. So basically, I'm dumping all liability and responsibility off of me outside of my due diligence, because everybody here thinks, well, we're not going to pay to protect the glass. We're not going to pay to have it washed, while we're building this building. But when the building's done and nobody's done their due diligence and they've screwed and fucked this glass, why don't you come clean it and make it look brand new? And when you don't, like, oh, well, now you're responsible. We don't want to pay. We're only paying half, like.
Especially the worst one is when the mason apprentice washes the mortar off, which has got the sand in it. Glass is made of sand. And then it gets dirty, and then he goes clean it, and you reveal the scratches, and then you get blamed for the scratches you revealed.
I just dealt with this not too long ago. The only thing that they even really took my side, that was like still doing construction. So I would go out and videotape and take pictures of updates of what's going on. And sure enough, shit, that's what they were doing. And I told them, like, look, you see this? Here it is. Here's pictures. Here's video. I said, when I clean that window, I don't want to hear that I scratched it. I said, because you can go take a water hose right now and rinse that window and you're going to find scratches.
Yep.
And then when they
that's the thing. And I think also, like, if we video our technique, if we really do have a technique, then window cleaners don't clean windows in circles, right? We clean in straight lines, right? So when you see the scratches are in circles, you go, dude, like, I'll show you my technique, right? You can watch me every time. I clean in straight lines. If your scratches are not straight lines, they're not my scratches,
Yep. If that mob's not going up and down, if those lines ain't going up and down, 9 times out of 10, it's and it's just it's hard because, like, some glass, like when they get concrete stuck to it, there's like concrete off. There's several different you can use, but then, like, not all of, like, we say glass, but almost none of it's like actual glass. Like, it's almost like there's no such thing as real just glass around, and, like, at least not here. It's all, I don't know if you want to be tempered. It's all,
tempered
like,
or tinted, or
there's something, like, you gotta be very careful, because it seemed like in Indiana they acid wash. They use muriatic acid, hydrochloric acid on so much glass back home, because our glass would get so hazy because all our buildings were brick block, like so much brick and stone.
And did they have the aluminum bug screens up there?
Some people did.
Because that'll create the aluminum oxide, and then the aluminum oxide sticks to the glass, and then you've got.
Yep. Yeah. No, there's quite a few older houses that have the metal, real thick, like old school metal screens. There's only one community that I've seen here with them. There's only one. Right. But yeah, that, and then, like, they used to, those metal screens, like, would leave rust pits, rust marks on glass. I've seen that once here on a house. Took the screens off, and I'm like, how is there? It looked like somebody, like, took a grinder or something and, like, had little grinder marks on it, and it was from.
Well, that's another one. That's another nightmare for a window cleaner, is when the grinder guy has shot his grind against the window, and then it's melted into the window.
I'd tell him replace it.
Hell yeah, because you can't blade that shit, right?
Nope. No, you gotta sand the window down. Like, if you can, something you can actually sand down and then buff and polish back out. And I'm gonna probably charge you $2,000-$3,000 a window. You might as well just pay that for the new window. Yeah. Literally, like, I'm not. I don't get. There are guys that are really gifted with creams and sanding and polishing, and, man, my hat is off to those guys. They know what they're doing, and I just don't get enough into polishing glass.
Not worth it.
Glass.
It's worth it if that's all you do, I think, but it's not worth it if that's not all you do.
No, and there's people, that's what they do. They just do glass restoration.
Now,
Yeah.
when you only do glass restoration, there's money
You
to
get
be
good
had.
at it.
You know, you can do it, but no. I mean, I don't mind, scraping, scrubbing, rubbing, but I'm not good with. I've not been taught how to do proper window
Yeah.
restoration.
Yeah. No, different
No,
business altogether.
but yeah, right.
What percentage of your work is windows?
Probably 80.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not much surface cleaning?
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, it's kind of mixed, but like the surface cleaning, when I do surface cleaning, so I use a product called Citrus Shield, right? Direct through the manufacturer. It's the guy that I deal with. I work with his
Yeah.
son. So he owns Citrus Shield. His son owns M&M Environmental Services. And so like it's all just back and forth. But like they do, it's an algae side. So like here, it used to be soft washing, right? Everything was soft wash, soft wash, soft wash. But then he came in kind of like how you did. He kind of changed the game when he had a multi-million-dollar company here and in Maine. He was a snowbird, started a company here, and
Right.
everybody here was doing soft washing. And he was like, man, I got to figure out if I can break away from soft washing, I'm going to change the industry. So there was other chemicals out. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Wet and Forget. There's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so like it's and so his is supposedly it's eco-friendly, which I've never really killed anything. It's not like Citrus Shield. I'm at a chlorine where like it'll burn a
Right.
plant.
It kills everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, it don't do that. So its pH is like 6.5 to 7. It's very stable. It's very neutral. Um, it's it's got some type of what do you want to call that?
Surfactant.
Some type of surfactant because it is sticky and it just
Right.
drops to like a gel. And so basically, where there's algae and mold, instead of pressure washing, the amount of water, right? So everybody talks about water, you know, and everywhere in the world is low on water. We're short. We're water short in
Yeah.
this world.
Yeah.
So we got to conserve our water. So his initial mix is 5-to-1. For every 5 gallons of water, use 1 gallon of the juice. Maintenance is 9-to-1. And that's all off tap water. So, and I told him, like, look, you have calcium, magnesium, you have all these chemicals that are interacting and bonding with your
Completely.
chemical. And
Yeah.
it's why, if you really test it in tap, it's partially dead, right? So, like, you got the ion exchange. So I told him, if you use pure
Good on
water,
you.
if you
Yeah.
use pure water, everything's stable. There's nothing in it. Nothing can eat it.
Exactly all that's in the water.
That's it. And so one of the guys that he uses as a subcontractor has a big, massive rig, and all he used to do was soft wash. He was a painter, house painter, soft wash, pressure wash, and then he got into the Citrus Shield. And so the Citrus Shield is pretty expensive, right? So it's kind of hard to get people on board with it, and it don't work instantly unless it's a green. So if you got black algae or mold, growing on sidewalks or houses, structure, concrete, anything, it takes time for it to eat away. But
Right.
when it's, like I said, when it's thick, everything just absorbs it and it dries. The water evaporates, so the juice is left behind. And literally, I can spray a driveway with 20-to-1, right? So it's not even, it's more than 2 times the maintenance. I can spray a driveway with 20-to-1, let it dry. I can go pressure wash it with a buffer, let it dry, and then go take a garden hose, and you'll still see soap suds where that stuff is like, it's strong. It's good, man. It holds tough. And, but like I said, it just takes time to work. And if you have the patience and you're not in a rush, it'll save your roof. He's got all these roofing manufacturers, have approved him. The water system, the water companies have
Yep.
approved.
That's another one. EPA. Yep.
So you can do a roof. You can spray that roof, the driveway, the gutters, the whatever. When it rains, it all goes down the system. And the water treatment plant says it's good to use because it helps clean the pipes and like anywhere it touches, it's going to try to activate. And so, they have made statements like, we wish everybody used it, because then like it would just clean our water systems.
Wow.
But we do, all of Disney World gets done with it. Busch Gardens, it's sold all over the world. He's real good at sales.
Right.
He's very good at sales, and he knows quite a few people, and it just took off, and he just started having people, sell it for him, around the world, and
Yeah.
they use it in a lot of places, and you just mix it, spray it, and I got a 100-gallon tank. They got a 1,000-gallon tank. Aaron's got 2, 4, 6, 8 feet, like 860, 850 on his truck. Low pressure pumps, 200, 400 PSI pumps, half-inch hose. I'm pretty sure is what that is. Yeah, it's half-inch work hose, like agricultural spray hose. And you just spray it and be gone, be done. So we do, if it's really bad, when we get somewhere, part of his little wow factor is you put in the work in the beginning. So like, instead of just spraying, like depending on where it's at, we might scrub it. So like I've ran through now with, they used to spray up second stories with long guns just to do like bang. And then I made a piece that goes on to like a pressure washer fitting, and then it screws into a piece that for a garden hose. And then I got a real short, like 3-foot hose, and then it has the male. So I just screw the high flow hose on it, right, and run it through. I have a separate hose, and then I just turn my pressure down on the pump down to like 30 psi, 25 psi, and I got a ball valve right there. So I can just keep the ball valve off. I can go move my brush, and then I can just turn it on, and it shoots it right out the jets. I can give it some agitation to work it in to the stucco, E-Fizz, whatever it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Real soapy, and then I just shut the valve off, bring the pole down, flush everything, take the poles apart, clean it, and I've never had any issues. I've ran water back through them. And these are brushes I use every day for window cleaning, and I just rinse them thoroughly when I'm done, and they're fine. They work for window cleaning, rubbing citrus sheets.
And are you mixing it with you're mixing it with the DI water, right? Like with the purified water?
Yes. Well, a lot of times if I can. If I'm on a random job site and I don't have a tank full of water, I just use tap water. And
tap water fine. Yeah.
It's all based on tap water, but he's realized that with DI water, you can get away with it with a lot more dilution. So now we even do maintenance. So like in your contract, it's supposed to be 5-to-1, 9-to-1 for maintenance, but nowhere in any contract does it state of how much product that I got to use to maintain your surface. No, that's just my job, is to maintain it, right? So I can run DI water or like well water that's really soft, 50 parts per million, 35 parts per million. And what was a maintenance of 9-to-1, you can go now 25, 30. I mean, Aaron goes 60-to-1 and spray, and it's still soapy as hell. And Joe's laughing like, dude, is that really? And Aaron's like, it's 60-to-1, and look, it's cleaning, it's working. If it's soapy, it's working, I promise. Because you can see, you can tell, you can see it. So
isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, it saves a lot of product, because the guy just did 1 million square feet from what 275-gallon tote. He did 1 million square feet. So whatever that math is what he's getting. And they charge roughly 30 cents a square foot. Now, given the tote is $9,600 is what a tote of that stuff costs. So $9,600 in material over 1 million square feet. Even if he gave the best deal of a lifetime and said, hey, I'll do it for 10 cents a square foot, there's $100,000.
Still cracking along.
9,600. He's got 10 grand in material. That's 90 grand. Like, you just can't go wrong. Like, and these, like I said, he's doing roofs, driveways, sidewalks, and gutters for an entire community. It's one man by himself, by a single solo man.
Is he pre-mixing or is he proportioning? Just pre-mixed in the tank.
It's all pre-mixed. Yep, it's all.
Yeah, that way you know what it is, and it's not that there's no explosions and shit like that.
Nope. He's got like an F450 And on the back he has so those 275-gallon totes. He took 3 of them and bolted them all up and put them inside this cage. And he's got 2 machines. They both have like 400 or 500 feet of hose on the reel. I mean, we've ran 800 feet off one machine. Was the most we've ever ran. And I mean, dude, this thing will shoot at 40 feet in the air. He's got a 400 PSI pump. Those pumps that he's got, they're aluminum pumps. They're not the plastic. Like, they're the real deal. He's got this fire hose fitting thing that he uses. It's ungodly at the amount of volume that pump puts out, man. Like, and that's like he says, Casey, volume is my time.
Yes.
Where I make time is with the
That's
volume.
That's exactly the same as radial brush. Like we go to half a gallon a minute, 3/4 gallon a minute on the solar panel brush, but all of our brushes are based around volume. Like G-Force is 1/4 gallon a minute, light, ultralight are 1/3 of a gallon a minute, radial rocker, deep frame rocker, all, like half a gallon a minute, and solar rocker 22 inches is 3/4 gallon a minute. Flow rate is what makes the difference.
That's it. Like I said, the for me, agitating most glass isn't the issue unless it's not being cleaned. If it's my first window, but once I get it cleaned, the only thing, even when it's dirty, the most important thing for me, for the most part, is the flow of water. It just keeps everything in turbulence. Because like I said, if I'm doing, so like I use the top underneath the frames, just like how you design the brush, and then when it's time for me to rinse the glass, when I'm done, I just barely lift up just a little bit so that water can come right behind the brush, and I pull the brush down, and that water, all that water that keeps adding up for me, constantly adding water and pulling that brush down. I'm not pulling it with the bristles, but I'm keeping the added water right with the rest of the water.
Yeah.
So as it's coming down, that water is getting heavy.
If you get sorry, I read Ben's message. If you get hydrophobic glass, then what happens is that the bristles in the blade break the surface tension of the glass and make it behave hydrophilic. So then it has to stay on the glass in that case.
So that's my next thing. I have learned that when I'm doing, it depends on how phobic. I know that some people think it's not much. There can be difference in phobic on how.
And different zones, like the outside 2 edges to the frame can be hydrophobic. The rest of the window's hydrophilic, right?
Almost all of them here in the sun. All my south side windows and a lot of my west side windows. When you do it, to me, I call it leaching of the seal. Yeah, maybe exactly it's not that, but
exactly
I think of the seal.
It's that. That's what it is.
That's because the only thing. It's oil based, petroleum based, whatever.
Yep. Whatever it is.
That is what makes it hydrophobic. And like I've told these guys that use way too much soap and that bake it into the glass in the sun, they have took hydrophilic glass, what was hydrophilic glass, and is now hydrophobic glass, because I can go to the shady side on the north side, and granted they've used that soap, but if after a couple cleans with the water pole, it is now really nice and hydrophilic.
Oh, interesting.
If you can buff the glass out. Because glass, like I've tried it, some people wonder here, and I tell them, when you do your dishes, you don't squeegee a dish, you don't air dry a dish, you rinse it. Your dishes are rinsed. Soap is meant to be rinsed. And they say, oh, well, you're squeegee. And I said, well, squeegee is just a trial, right? So glass is porous. So when I'm rubbing oil, right, when I'm rubbing soap is oil based, or I'm assuming it's oil based. It has something in it or maybe it's a surfactant.
No, it's a surfactant. It's not quite oil, but it's slippery. It's slippery. That's the point. Yeah.
That slip. And then when you squeegee the glass, you see that shine, and then it just vanishes, right? When it's kind of humid, and it's got the oil color, like that sheen look to it. That is on the glass. It's in the glass. And when the sun hits it, and it's constantly it's baked into the pores of the glass, and all the surface tension, it just makes them super hydrophobic, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's completely logical, because the reason we add the surfactant, if you don't have a surfactant in your water, your squeegee doesn't work. So therefore, the only way your squeegee works is because there's a surfactant under it. If it's under it, there must be some left on it,
Has to
right?
be.
Because otherwise it's in front of it, not under it. Yeah.
No, exactly, which would still
Yeah.
put it on the glass regardless. So it
Yeah.
does it hydroplanes, you know, and it's and what's left behind is minute, but it's
Yeah. Tiny nano layer of detergent.
but
I didn't know you knew so much about window cleaning, Casey.
I love the science, man.
No wonder you get on
love,
with me.
I love the science behind it, man. I do. So
Well, I'm fascinated because like you and I never talk about window cleaning so much. We normally talk about life, but today we've talked about window cleaning and I've really, really enjoyed it. And I was unaware, but probably not surprised, but unaware that you are into the science and the efficiency. I mean, I think that's, very much what it's all about. And as I say to people, you can clean windows, dude. It's not, can I clean a window? I'm a window cleaner. Yay. Right. But I go, dude, you can clean windows with newspaper and methylated spirits, like it's not about whether you can clean a window or whether a Tucker can clean a window or an Ionix or a Mormon or a Adaray, or it's not about I can clean a window or can I clean a window or does it clean windows or whatever. It's about how fast you clean windows. Because that's what you're a professional, and your job is to get in and out as fast as possible and take as much money as possible.
Yes. I've even recently the guy that I work with, Joey, he's always like, Casey, you leave at 2, you leave at 2:30. He's like, I'm working till 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I said, Joey, I'm sorry, man. Like, I mean, I don't think you want me to just sit in the truck, when I'm done. And then you find out, so every day for 2 hours a day, I got to pay the guy to sit in the truck. No, you pay me for efficiency, and the customers say, wow, they came in, they did it, they're gone, it looks good. My thing is, a day's work is worth a day's pay, whatever it may be, so.
And I think that the other thing is that we underestimate the carpet cleaning industry's got it down pat. Like if you have a carpet cleaner, one guy comes in, he says, look, I'm going to use the hot water from your house. I'm going to put it into my little unit, right? And I'll clean your carpets. You won't be able to walk on them for 12 hours. Maybe tomorrow you can walk on them, right? Because they'll be a bit damp, whatever. Or you get the guy who's got the huge truck mount, spent the bucks on the efficiency. He says, I'm going to make my own steam. I'm going to steam clean your carpets and you can walk on them straight away. And I'll be in and out of your house in an hour and a half, and the other guy is going to take all day. And I'm 50% more expensive than him. We're like, what do you want? And that's us. Like, fast window cleaners offer a customer service factor, which people don't understand. But you could almost put a guarantee. I can clean windows faster than anybody else, right? I'll be in and out of your property. You will have more of your day. I set my day aside for the window cleaner. You'll have more of your day if you hire me than you will if you hire anybody else.
And here that really pays off because it's a lot of retired people that have a lot of money, and they will be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, so when you can get in and beat them and they're like looking around and they're like, thank you. It's like they're puzzled that they couldn't find something. And then it's like, then it clicks. And when it clicks, man, it's crazy that I can go do sliders, right? For $20 a piece on sliders that take no time to do. And you're in somewhere for 15 minutes doing a $175 slider job, and they tip you $50. They tip you $30. Like,
wow,
it's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. Like, we just sprayed a roof, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I was there for 45 minutes and got a $50 tip. And that 45 minutes cost that guy $800 to get his roof cleaned, and I did it in 45 minutes. Yeah, I'm in and out of there. I do roofs like no other. So I'm a roof rat. I'm the little guy. I'm 160 pounds, 6 foot. So
wow, yeah,
they don't
lean.
Like. Yeah. Yep. I'm lean. I'm healthy, strong. A lot of guys. I climb everything. I jump off stuff. I flip. I do it all, man. I do it all. Guys, when they see me climb and do stuff, it's like, man, what the hell, dude? And I'm like, come on, come get you some of this money. I'm calisthenics fanatic. I love it.
Wow. Oh, you're so much fun. Can you believe we've talked for an hour and a half?
No, I just looked in the corner and seen that. She's over there doing her nails. So I'm going to get some time with her. She goes to the airport first thing in the morning. I've been so nervous, Perry, all day. Just like, oh, what am I going to do? Man, how am I going to do this? What are we going to talk about? And then now I'm like, hey, I want to do this again.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm gonna get you back on and talk window cleaning, because I had a guy complain to Peter Thomas. He's my really, really dear friend in Perth, Australia, and so vital for us, you know, as a company. And but the guy listened to one of our ones and he goes, oh, like there's nothing about window cleaning in it, right? You know, like, you know, all, because most of our other ones are about the journey of business and life and all that. And I've always said to Ben, I don't want it to be about Reach It or whatever, you know, because it would get boring. And there's only so many times you can talk about window cleaning. But today is probably the first few we did a bit of window cleaning stuff because we didn't know what to say. But this is the first one in probably 45 or 50 that we've actually talked about being on the tools. And I've loved it.
Right on. I appreciate it. No, I love the tools, and I'm glad that you have dedicated yourself and so many other people, you know, that we believe in you, and I'm thankful. You have changed my life around as far as like what I can do, and you know, it really gives me a chance to show off because the tools work. You know what I mean? It's
That's
2
it.
+ 2 = 4. That's it. It is what it is. You know, you can take
but
one.
For anybody listening, it's so critical to understand that we make a tool with a technique, not just a tool. If you take our tool and use your technique, you will not clean windows faster, because your technique is your belief system around how much time something should take, right? So you have to change your technique. But if you had to change your technique and you didn't want to understand radial technique, follow what you do. If you're an efficient squeegee user, follow what you do with a squeegee. Straight pulls, corners, angles, it's all the same, right?
It's
like angled across the top. You don't go square to the top of the squeegee unless you're going to do a straight pull. But on deep frame windows, like commercial buildings, that we do that with deep frame window. You know, but normally, you know, small windows, you're going to go across an angle, you're going to go through the corner, and we've got radial bristles that'll scrub out the corner, and then you go all the way to the bottom, and then you come across and you say, okay, that side's done. Go across to the other side, that side's done, all the way to the thing. If there's anything left in the middle, you go up and go down. That's done.
It's done.
Yeah. And however many times you would have put a mop over it to agitate it, that's how many times you stroke it with a Reach It brush.
Well, and there's a lot of jobs we have. I won't keep you too much longer, but they were using boom lifts and they were taking screens out, right? Damaging screens. And so I told them, hey, the guys aren't washing the screen. Let me scrub the screen and then rinse through the screen. Oh, I don't think that's going to work. I'm going to make sure to get you some video that I do $1 million condos, multi-million dollar condos, right through the screen, the whole nine. And these are people that are picky. And that window. Now,
see, that's weird, because quite often the dirt gets stuck behind the screen because the wind blows it in but doesn't get it out.
Now the seals, one thing we can't clean is the seals, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's a crew that does inside window cleaning, right? They come right behind us and they do all the winds and all the insides. So they lift all those lower recessed windows, wipe the seals, close the window back, and get gone. So they do the inside glass, they do the seals, and
but I was pretty thrilled. I was talking to Benji, our good producer here, sitting by the pool. Come on in, Benji. But I was talking to Benji the other day, and do you know what he's doing? He takes the screens off, right, to clean the window. So let's say that we stay with that. But he has been using his Radialite brush and washing the screen on the window, then pulling it out, washing the window, and then putting the screen back in. Whereas everybody else is taking all the screens out, dragging them all over to the truck, getting their Aztec screen cleaner out, running them through the Aztec screen. Awesome Instagram, you know, la da 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 da, and old Benji's like cleaning it on the window and then taking it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Crazy. And I'm going, why? I've never thought of that.
And for me, I've noticed, and Benji can probably agree, especially when you go back for maintenance, that's the window stays cleaner longer because the screen is actually, it's not just wiped with a rag. You know what I mean? Guys take soapy
rag and wipe it down, and then they dry it. Well, what are they doing? They're drying soap to a screen, and then now here comes a rainstorm, and now your window is screwed because
and also the screen, each wire in the screen is 360 degree, so you clean this side and you clean that side, but you don't clean these sides. That dirt dust is still there. That when next time it rains, that dirt dust can still go to the window. Next time it's super windy, that dirt dust can still get blown onto the window.
Yep. Yeah, that water pull on screens, man, is a game changer. I mean, I do enclosures, so there's a lot of places that have glass and the windows. I mean, the screen is right there. You can't even get a mop. Now, G-Force, I need to buy G-Force because G-Force can get it, and I need to buy one. Like next week, I need to buy one Monday.
And then take it up. Like, talk to me about. I'll get you in touch with Peter Thomas because he's working with the guy in Australia who's using it on ropes.
Okay.
Because it's only using. You'd have to probably go to WCR to buy it, but we don't sell the 8mm tube anymore. The 5/16. You might have some left.
I got some.
Yeah, so you only need the 5/16, which is perfect if you're on ropes, because you want a nice, soft, flexy, thin, rope-like tube. And then Pete can put you in touch with the guy in Perth who's doing it and the technique that he's using and all that.
Yeah, because
and how he's made it safe. Like we're siliconing because we can move your handle across right on the aluminum frame, but for rope work, you don't want that. You'll either got to screw it together or put silicon underneath and slide it on and let the silicon set so it can't move.
Makes sense.
Right? Yeah, because it's got a little lever so you can slide it. But if that lever opens, you got yourself a piece of.
Yep.
You got yourself a problem.
Yep. Yeah. No, I could see just use like clear silicone.
Yep. Yeah, and just lock it in, and you can tap it out one day if you ever need to loosen it up again.
Yeah, no, I'd probably just lock it, leave it, and be fine.
Lock it and leave it for rope work. Yep.
Yep.
And then you spin it on the glass. Like the first thing you do, get the pole and just straight at the glass, and then just turn it, and you watch this thing go around and around, and then you go off center and do the same, and go off center and do the same, and go off center and do the same, and it's a gyro, right?
Yeah,
whatever angle you're at, you can set it exactly as you want to, and you can adjust the tension. If you like things loose, you have them loose. You want them tighter.
I like them really loose because, like my mop, when I mop a window, you'll see guys take their mop and stick it on a pole, and they just go up and down, up and down, up and down. Mm-hmm. That's not what I do. I take my mop, I put it on a pole. When I put that mop up on the pole, I go across that top left to right a little bit, and then when I come down, when I come down the window with that mop, my mop swivels. I twist it. That mop flips when I scoot it over, and then I go up, and then I flip it and come down. So basically, what I'm doing is when you put pressure on that mop, it pushes all the water back and down, right? So then, like you're mopping this window, and then you want to get it as wet as possible, right? Because you want it to come into solution, right, or stay in the water. Yeah. But the only way for me to do that is to put as much water on the glass as I can with my mop. So for me, I have to spin the mop, bring it down, push it up, spin the mop. Like if I spin that mop on that glass, I believe that I'm getting better agitation because like you said, most window cleaners either go up and down and side to side. And for me, it's a lot of motion that is start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. Like where when I'm twisting, it's a lot more fluid movement. And they say when you wash stuff, you should do it in circles, right? That's what they say, small.
Interesting. How we wash our dishes. We don't wash our dishes like across the plate like that. We always wash around.
Always rough. So
yeah, interesting.
I kind of feel like swirling my mop a little bit helps, like I said, when I'm on ropes and I have it in my hand, I don't just go, because guys will take that mop out, flip it over, and as soon as they push on the glass, all the water runs down. And then so I put it on the glass and I cut my window. When I cut my window over, when I come down to that bottom corner, I roll that mop right over and pick that water up and put it back on the top of my mop and bring that mop back up onto that glass. Brilliant. Because if not, guys, they push it down to that corner, and when they do, you can hear it, you can see it. All that water, when they stop that mop, all that water goes flying off the mop. And to me,
when we did attack mops, I think we made them too heavy, but we have attack mops. But I might send you when you order your G-Force, let me know, and I'll send you some attack mops. Right, They're not right. But I stopped because I couldn't. I need somebody who thinks like you think, right?
Okay.
That's a mop user. Like Byron
Yeah.
and Pete are not mop users; they're Wagtail G-Force style users. You know.
Okay.
But because I can place the microfiber, because a good microfiber can hold 6-7 times its weight in water, right?
Yep.
So we need to place the microfiber where we want to hold the water so that you can press on it to release the water if you want to, you know. So it's not going to just run out of the mop, which is what most of the mops do, because they're only really fibers. They're just stitched on a flat back, right? And they're all fibers hanging out like this. But what we did is we put 5 layers of microfiber behind, so that like a nappy, but in reverse, right? It's got the water in it so that you can push it out. But it makes it heavy when you wet it. It makes it heavy, which is kind of like the downside of it. That's where I kind of got stuck, right? But what I think is we should be doing is like when you look at the top of a mop. If a mop is a circle, like how many times do you use the top edge of a mop? You know, so that could be empty.
Yeah. So
or it could be white non-scratch pad, or it could be blue. It could be blue steel. You know what I mean?
it could be flat.
Yeah. There's no reason for it to not be flat, right?
Yeah, because like
whose is that?
Huh?
Whose is that?
Oh, this is an Unger from Lowe's. It's got the back flip that I cut off.
Classic.
So like you don't even get these online. You just get them from like I said, Lowe's. You can't even.
But the problem, because in order to save money on the plastic, then they make the ribs, you know. But then what we could do is just put a face on it so you don't, because otherwise, you know, it's in theory it's like this. There's no real agitation where there's not a rib.
Yes, and it's crazy because I only try to use these if it's like bad, right? Because I get a little bit more tension.
Well, you get more pounds per square inch on each line.
Yeah,
because it's all the actual area of pushing against the glass is at any one time is only one of those bars, right?
Well, that, and then like the round ones. These are all old. I don't even use these. But the round one, when you're pushing, you just get like, I don't know, 1/4 inch, half inch, if you're lucky.
People don't understand that.
No matter how you hold the mop, as far as the way, it's still the same.
You're not getting pounds per square inch. Yeah.
You're not getting much contact.
It's all fluff. All your fibers are just going fluffy, and it works. Like anything will clean a window. This is not a discussion about does it work or doesn't it. It's a discussion about work equals force through distance. Can I do it with less force? Can I get it where it travels less distance? If I can do either or both of those, I can make it less work for the same result, right?
Yes, 100%. I follow that wholeheartedly. But
we'll talk. I'll send you some stuff, right, that you can play with, and then go, this is, you know, and you can chop it up or ask us to chop it up and rebake it. We'll get it where we need it. The force where we need the force. You know, I've got one where I've got my one at home. I've got the blue steel stitched in the top center, and then I had it as a whole floppy thing, like a Mormon wagtail type thing, but it's too much. But I chopped it short, just that much, you know, maybe 1/4 inch, a bit more than 1/4 inch. But then if I need to, you know, fingernail, I'll just go to the, you know, straight against the glass, and then it's there, right? So it's kind of like a 14-inch fingernail that you can scratch at something. You know?
Yeah. That'd be nice.
I'm sure there's a right way to do it, but it just takes so many samples to get through the mire, you know.
Well, and it takes guys like us, like you said.
Yeah.
If they don't want to change the technique, like I had to figure out how to talk to guys, you know, down here with using your equipment, because they're like, oh, you think you know what you're doing? You try to tell people how to do it, and I say, look, don't kill the messenger. I'll show you who God is. I'll show you who he is. It's a technique that is designed. Yeah. The brush is designed from technique. So when you use this technique, You can't go wrong. Like the guys, my issue with them initially was they're used to using the pencil jets, so they keep they're used to the square brush. They're not used to the pivot, and they're not used to the rinse bar. So when they go and they push that brush square and they push it up and then they pull it down, rundowns, water's all over, and I'm like, dude, it's a squeegee. Cut the frame, bring it down. If it's real hydrophobic on the edges, I twist that brush. If it's phthalic, I go straight. If it's phobic, I
lean it
and get all that heavy water to flush all that.
In the same as if the spider webs or spider nests, that stuff you have to chase that off glass, but not if you angle the brush against the frame. Like if you're angled against the frame, all the water, not half the water, not all the water runs down and chases that shit off, right? It cannot survive that much water.
No, and it don't. So like if I got cobwebs, I do my frames first, just those frames, and then I'll clean that brush and go back, smack that glass real quick. Because what happens if you don't and they're bad, then I'm chasing little specks of
little spidey bits,
stick, because spider stuff likes to stick really good to glass.
Yeah, exactly.
Frame
all right, buddy, let's get Ben in here. I'm gonna have you back and we'll talk some more, and I'll send you and I'll send you a whole lot of shit, right?
All right. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, sir. And I'm also gonna send you a Cobra.
Okay.
Because you're doing if you like the Cobra, you take it to your Citrus Shield guy and say, you can have this exclusively, right, as a gimmick.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
I think he might like it.
Yeah. No, it will come in handy, and I will show. I'll make some videos. I'll put it to good use. I'll show you.
Sweet, because you're using low pressure. I got Ben to put it through his 8 gallon a minute super pressure, and we smashed it. So
hell no,
it's low pressure only.
Yeah,
low pressure.
Even at high end, like I said, when I'm using your brush, I only run like 30 psi, and that thing goes.
Yeah.
So on that, I can run.
That's because you got flow rate, bro. You understand flow rate, volume of water.
It's needed.
And I always say to people, if you use a higher flow rate, sorry, Ben, if you use a higher flow rate, you'll work so much faster that you use way less water. You've got to use a higher flow rate to use less water. You don't use a lower flow rate, you're going to spend longer on the glass, you're going to use more water.
That is a fact. I believe that.
Yeah. All right. Peace out.
Peace out, brother. Thank you, guys.
Okay, and
thank you for watching or listening to another Service Six Sigma podcast. If you enjoyed the content, please like and share it with other mobile service contractors. We live stream daily, Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All previous podcasts are available for viewing at service6sigma.com. And for listening on your favorite podcast channel, just search Service Six Sigma. See you next time, and you have an epic day.